That's not how I was thinking of it, you know? I am channeling my inner Sia right now. I feel the love. I've been growing these out because I really want to do a postpartum hair makeover because all my hair is starting to fall out. This is from one brushing. And I figured what better way to start my momcation with my best friend than having a new haircut. I was kind of going back and forth between like maybe a lob or like a collarbone length A-line lob and the Julia Stegner. And I figure I've been growing this hair for several years and it's quite long, so I don't really want to chop it all off. I think I'm just going to take an inch off the ends and then do the Julia Stegner. Is it Stegner or is it Stegner? Stegner? I know it's German. I have finally found a local hairstylist that I trust. I've been going to my guy up in Seattle since I was 17, so basically 20 years, and I tried out this lovely lady that everyone locally recommends, and she was fantastic and really listened to me and did a really great job. So I'm gonna do something a bit more adventurous, and I've seen some of her other layering work and it looks beautiful, so I'm really excited to do this. It's subtle, but I think it softens things up. I love it. Hello, everyone. I was sitting there this morning writing my to-do list for the day. One of those things being like a feeding and nap schedule for Kameron. That is something that he requested because, you know, he works long hours outside of the house now, so, and you know how schedules can change. So I have to make that today. I did get the rental car and hotel booked, so those are done and out of the way. That's not something I have to worry about. And then I am also starting a blood glucose diary just for the rest of the week, and then maybe when I return from my momcation. I just want to get like a rough maybe 2 weeks of glucose levels, like fasting and post-meal levels, because I do want to get some testing done with the doctor. And I was going through my symptom list and I was like, you know what, a lot of these potential diseases, I mean, it could also potentially just be postpartum hormones, but a lot of these potential diseases have very similar like symptom profiles, and one of them is diabetes. So I wanted to keep a little diary to give to my doctor and see if that's something worth looking into. But yeah, I was just thinking about, you know, I feel like ever since my loss, and I've always been a little bit like this because of the ADHD and being unmedicated and everything for so long, I tend to want to control what happens in my life. I found myself feeling like I can't take a long vacation. Thora's too young. You know, Cameron's not around like seeing how everything works out all day long every day. And I kept feeling really worried about that and worried about how he would handle it, even though he can totally handle it. You know, he's their dad. He's a wonderful dad and he's very capable, but I just found myself being worried about it because I'm not going to be here to make sure everything's okay. And with, you know, the pediatrician kind of being on our tails about her wanting to eat less than average for her age, and just the amount of stress that was coming from us trying to adhere to what Kameron and I call the book. Like, we're like, this pediatrician, she's young, she's still a student. It feels like she's going very much by the book and not from like years and years of experience with several patients. And it just, you know, it was very stressful for a while trying to control the amount that our daughter was eating. And we just had to relinquish that control and follow her lead and just do what Thora wants to do, you know, because we don't want to create feeding issues, you know, like a bottle aversion or something like that. That's not the goal. The goal is to have a healthy, happy baby. And I think she, despite eating less than your average 4-month-old, she is just like crushing her milestones. She's already sitting up assisted. Like, she wanted to sit up. She started doing crunches in bed in the morning. She's like, no, Mom, this laying down thing is not it. She's just reaching milestones months earlier than her brother did. And I feel like that has to be a healthy child, you know? So that was a lesson, trying to not control the situation because of what the book says, you know, and relinquishing that control and letting our daughter lead us with what she wants to do in terms of feeding. I feel like, in a lot of ways, trying to control the outcome of a lot of things, you tend to feel like it's going to help, like it's going to help. And in reality, it just contributes to anxiety, I think. And I think that's been a big contributing factor into why Kameron and I really haven't had any like vacation time, really. I think when you lose a child, you start thinking about potential tragedies and potential terrible things that can happen to your living children. And one of those being like, we've never had a babysitter before. You know, apart from when we were in the hospital and I was giving birth to Thora, then we had my sister-in-law, but my sister-in-law lives out of state, and it's not like we can just call her up and be like, hey, we want to go to the movie. But it's one of those things where it's like, we don't know anyone that well. We don't know who we can trust. We just heard a lot of really awful stories. That's still one of those things that we're trying to control, prevent something bad from happening, you know? But that's not good, because then we don't go and enjoy ourselves and get a break, and our mental health suffers and everything. Originally, my best friend and I were thinking about having not a full week, but like maybe a half week for a little trip, just the two of us, and kind of backed down to 2.5 days because I just feel like Thora's so young. I'm just not ready to leave her for a long period of time. You know what I mean? Like, not yet. Maybe when she's a year old, I'll consider doing a longer vacation, but right now I didn't feel comfortable with the idea of leaving her for that long. There's another thing on the issue of control where I tend to want to correct people's assumptions about me. And the truth is, I can't control what people think about me. I shouldn't control what people think about me. I shouldn't even care what people think about me, because after all, people will decide who they think you are based on the information that they have, and there's nothing you can do to change that most of the time. And do you even want to? You know what I mean? Like yesterday, my blog went live, the one where I was late for decorating for Halloween, and I guess I assume that people know more than they know. You know what I mean? I've come to realize that even if you talk about something in prior vlogs, like if you gloss over that fact in a new one, it's like people either forget that information or they've never heard of it because they didn't watch that one. So I guess I unintentionally created clickbait with my title. I got to my haircut and I saw the comments rolling in and I was like, oh wait, no, that's not what I meant. And I thought like, okay, I'll just pin that comment and probably only a couple of people will, you know, think this, because that's not how I was thinking of it, you know. My whole life, especially because I went so long being undiagnosed with ADHD, I've had like this perpetual state of I am late. I'm falling behind. Why am I such a procrastinator? Like, why am I like this? I've always had this perpetual little voice in the back of my head. You're gonna be late for that. You're falling behind. Why are you so slow? Etc., etc. So it creates like this pressure of needing to be not only on time, but early as heck. Like, Kameron and I are similar in that way, that we show up to parties 15 minutes early, and people are like, what are you doing here? We're like, well, the party's at 4. And they're like, well, yeah, we didn't think anyone was going to show up till 6, and we're there at like 3:45. You know? So I have this perpetual feeling of never being caught up and always being late. Even if I'm on time, I think somebody is going to be mad at me because I'm here on the dot and I'm not early. I remember talking about it last year in a vlog that I was 4 days late on setting up for Halloween, and I was like kind of kicking myself because that's 4 additional days that I didn't get to enjoy my favorite holiday, like my favorite month of the year, because the HOA doesn't let us keep our decorations up past the 31st. Like, November 1st, you better be taking that down, or they're gonna come and they're gonna like say something to you, possibly fine you. So that's all that was, you know. I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? I guess I didn't think that people were gonna take it that way, because I've had other vague titles before. It's like, I need to see the doctor about this. And it's like, I don't want to write all my symptoms in the title, because that's too wordy, you know? So you kind of leave like the main point, and then you leave the rest for your vlog. Yeah, I was not expecting it seemed like everyone thought I was talking about my period. And I can promise you there would never ever be a time where I would just spring like, oh hey guys, I'm pregnant. You know, I would never just spring that on people or use that as a joke, you know. I don't think that's funny, especially after having a full-term stillbirth. I don't think that's funny. We're not gonna be having another baby for at least a couple of years. Anyway, after my hair appointment, I opened up YouTube and there was just a tsunami of very angry comments. Most of them were like, haha, you got us good. I'm like, wait, what did I do? How did I get you? You know? And then I realized that like all of you thought that I was saying that I was pregnant, and it started feeling like the Twilight Zone, you know, because like, that's not what I meant. There were some that were, you know, oh, haha, you got us good, or like, I thought we were supposed to be congratulating you, and then there were some downright mean ones, you know, and those people have been blocked. When you wish the demise of another child of mine because of what you assume is clickbait, like, goodbye. Or when you tell me that I'm gonna get what's coming to me because I'm a disgusting excuse for a human being, yeah, goodbye. So yeah, I blocked and deleted all of the really awful things that were said to me. Tried to take everything else with a grain of salt, but when it's like literally everyone misunderstanding you, you kind of want to explain and like stand up for yourself. And then I started feeling like I was reduced to my reproductive system. Like I don't have any other facets of my life other than being a vessel for creating life. And I'm like, can I not be late for anything other than my period? That's extreme, but I understand. My channel has mostly been about our loss and our journey to become parents, but I also just felt like I had expanded it beyond that, and, you know, expanded it to just life in general. It was weird. I kind of felt like this, like reduced to a womb, when to me, saying I'm late, the first thing that pops into my mind is ADHD and trying to control and schedule, and, you know. But this is again why I shouldn't even be posting this, because I highly doubt anyone's going to change their mind, and I shouldn't have to change anyone's mind. Like, you know, I guess I'm just at a loss for words, and it's just really like, holy shit, that was really taken out of context. I know I'm not like the best at providing context, because I feel like when I try to explain things, I assume that people know the full story, but they don't, and people will fill it with whatever they want to fill it with, and I have to be okay with that. Like whenever people see all the cats, a dozen people will jump down my throat and say, your baby died because of your cats. Your baby died because of toxoplasmosis. And it doesn't matter how many times I say my doctor tested me after my daughter passed away, and that was not the cause of her death. We don't know the cause of her death, truly. But that's just what people want to believe, and I can't control that. So it's kind of pointless for me to try to convince people, you know? But yeah, I was planning on not saying anything, because there's sometimes that I do want to address hate comments, and then I'm just like, no, just block and delete and move on, because they want you to, you know. But I felt like I was seeing so many familiar faces of people I interact with every week that I like, that took it the wrong way, and I felt like I needed to say something, but at the same time, like, I don't know what that would accomplish. Anyway, I'm sorry. I guess maybe I'll never say I'm late for any reason ever again.